Hey there, and welcome back to Tacks, our video series on moving ideas to action. I'm Nicola, founder of Up With Community, a practice for connecting into our personal power for change. I'm here today with Safiya Khalid, City Councilor for Ward 1 here in Lewiston, Maine. And Safiya, I wanted to talk to you because I was inspired by your race. I'm excited to see you win. And I wanted to just get into your story more. So before we talk about the election, I want to hear a little bit more about what you're up to in the world.
Yeah, first, thank you so much for having me. Right now I'm just, getting back to my life.
Yeah. You're like 6 weeks in.
Just my regular old routine before the election and before the campaign. But also something that I'm very passionate about is, young people and trying to inspire them. So, day to day, I am, out there talking to youth, going to high schools. Since the election, I've gone to so many middle schools and so many high schools. So
that's awesome.
And that's what's it about,
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So tell me about why you wanted to run, because we've had folks try to run from our immigrant and New Mainer communities here in Lewiston and not win yet. And what made you want to try?
It's for different reasons, but one of the biggest reason is my love and passion for my community. More than a decade ago, my family and I fled war and violence from Somalia, and Lewiston, when we came, they welcomed us with warm hands and open minds, and and we find the opportunity and the comfort and the safety we were looking for here in the community. And one of the biggest reasons is because of how diverse it is, especially we did not speak the language. There's, so speaking someone like, Somali and someone who you can, relate to culturally it was all here. Yeah.
So you chose to run, and what was it like when you were working on the campaign last year?
Just a lot of different emotions, honestly. One of my, I started the campaign in March of 2019, and I announced it, and I was really excited, but I honestly did not know what I was getting into. But it was, I'm working 9 to 5, very busy. Especially with someone who's the oldest in the family. I have a lot of family pressure and obligation to just meet their needs. But also, just so many things going on. And I decided to run for office, right? But now from 2017 when I ran for school committee, I did not have the support. I had no experience. I had no money, nothing. And I was working full-time at LL Bean and going to college full-time. I did not win that race, but this time I felt like I was fully prepared. So I started, going right into knocking doors with all the other obligation responsibilities I had. But, during the campaign trail, I met amazing people who welcomed me into their homes. I remember 2 Nancys. One of them gave me a Band-Aid.
2 Nancys. One gave you a Band-Aid.
And the other one just hugged me for literally 5 minutes. She never met me before. She did see my yard sign in public road. She was like, that's a different name. and so I knocked. So it was it was getting midnight. Not midnight, but get a little bit darker outside because it was 7 p.m. And she opens the door and she says, oh my God, I've been waiting for you to come. And I don't know her. So she grabs me and we hugged for 5 minutes. It was true. It was beautiful.
And you felt comfortable being hugged.
Yes, I felt comfortable being hugged. I felt like I can relate to her somehow. I felt like she welcomed me. She embraced me, And I remember I thought about when we first came to America, we were settled in New Jersey, and I can just think about the hardship and the challenges we had there. And this new or older lady hugging me was just completely different.
Yeah, and it's wow, how you've come so far.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes. It's incredible. It's incredible. A lot of times Lewiston gets talked down and says there's a lot of negative stereotypes around our city. But when I was knocking doors every day, 5 to 7 or 5 to 8, I saw amazing people, that like were open-minded, that were willing to learn, that were able to tell me their challenges and things that they are dealing with in the community.
Yeah. Well, and that came through in your win.
Yes.
Right?
70%, almost 70% of the vote on Tuesday night.
Yeah, that was great. So, I mean, you've been into politics for a long time. And
Yes.
I remember meeting you, I think maybe when you were early in college still. It was like at one of the local caucuses.
Yeah.
And I was like, who is this person? Who is this person over here? So, like, how did you first get bit by the bug of doing politics and getting into,
Yeah. I think first I didn't like really get into politics per se, but with the election of Donald Trump and with the LaPage administration, I always was really mad in a way. I was frustrated with someone who was in an elected position to say such racist rhetoric, and especially now with our highest office, I can go on forever.
Yeah. You'll say that for a different video.
But I really did not. So 2016 happened, right? And I really did not it was because I was really focused on my school and my immediate family. So I didn't take the step to actually run for office. But then the 2017 local elections came around, and I decided to run for school committee at large against an incumbent. Like I said, I was working full time, making the bottom of the bean boots, and going to Portland campus 4 days a week. So I was so stressed and but I love the love I have for the community and the passion and the motivation, especially since I recently graduated from Lewiston High School. I was like, I'm the best candidate to represent these kids at the school level, and whatever I can, I would go and knock doors at night, and I never had training in knocking doors, phone banking, nothing, and no one would go with me too in rural areas. But I did it, and people were nice and understanding. But come election night, I lost big time, unfortunately. But I got 3,000 votes. That's a lot.
That's 3,000 people thought you did a good job.
Exactly. 3,000 people believed in me, right? 3,000 people wanted me to sit on at the table. So I didn't give up. I didn't let them down. Usually when stuff like that happens, when you lose big time, people get dissatisfied and be like, oh, I don't think I can do it again, right? But that was it for me. That motivated me to run and get plugged in, right? And try again. So I got on the library board. I got on the local Democratic committee. Anywhere that I can plug in and become a community organizer, I tried.
Great. And, we're both older sisters, and I've heard you talk about being an older sister. How does that, connection to family and also, being the eldest in your family show up for you when you're serving in the public?
Yeah, I, watching my mom risk her life in New Jersey, where she put her life in line to protect us, and was something I always, looked at, and she's a big motivator and a really huge role model for me and for my two younger brothers too. So me as a young Black Somali woman, I wanted to, especially my younger brother Shamarke, I wanted to show him that he can do whatever he put his mind to, right? Especially we're in a society where we have a lot of police brutality, and a lot of young men are getting talked down, and there's a lot of challenges. I wanted to show them this is your country, right? You have a place here, and you can do anything that you can. And I always think back and try to be the best sister that I can. But also now I want to extend it to all youth, right? All young people, whether Black or white, whether young or old, and yeah.
You're reminding me of when I started working at the League of Young Voters many, many years ago. People would say to me, Maine is such a white state. And I would get so pissed because it was ignoring all of the families like yours and mine that are living here and that want to stay.
Yes.
Right? That we're not here because we have to necessarily. Your family is here, but if you wanted to leave, you could.
Yeah.
So, what has kept you in Lewiston?
Interestingly, so I'll go back a little when we came to New Jersey. So when you get your refugee admissions, you get assigned to a state for different. I don't know why exactly, but like for different reasons. And so we landed at the airport terminal at JFK around 8-ish, around there. And no one was waiting for us, and coming here, we didn't have any relatives waiting for us in the States, any friend, no one that we knew. And so we came to the terminal and no one was waiting for us. And it's been like hours and hours later. And as the airport was emptying, my mom noticed and she started to cry. She started to cry because she could not ask for help. She could not call anyone. And a security guard finally comes over and kneels down and gives her a box of tissues. And when she gives her the box of tissues, my mom, since she could not, communicate to her, what she does is she starts giving her documents to this security guard. And finally, security guard looks through the documents and finally finds our case manager or sponsor. And that's when an older, white lady with short hair, it's very vivid for me, I can see it, comes and takes us into a car. That was my first time being in a car too. So that was one situation that I was really scared, right? A single mom crying in the middle of an airport terminal with her three little babies, clinging to her. And then there was another situation where after being left in at an apartment building that the case manager takes us to, there's no way for us to communicate to the outside world. We couldn't call our relatives back home because we don't know how to. We had no friends. We were basically left stranded in that apartment. So what happens is one day my mom again risked her life and she goes outside at in the street and she says Assalamu alaikum to anyone who comes by, and that's peace be upon you in Islam. And she goes back every day, like day after day, week after week. And my brother Muhammad, who's 5 and I 7, we would be watching from the window and she would get pushed around, honestly. She would be, some guys would push her and she would get up, and next person she would say the same thing and she would really not get a response. And one day someone finally responded wa alaikum salam, and that's when she hugged this guy, this stranger, embraced him, and he embraced her too. And it was such a beautiful sight because just watching your mom get pushed around for a long time. But then again, we didn't even know who that guy was as little kids. So what happens is, she takes him inside, she brings him inside, and we embrace him too, show him love, and he hugs us too. But unfortunately, he doesn't speak Somali, he speaks Arabic. So that was really a hard situation, but he has a Somali family from New York City that he brings over. And this was the family where my mom asks, I need a community, I need a sense of belonging. Take me to a place where I can feel at home and safe, and I can honestly find the opportunities I fled from my country, right? And they were like, let's come with us to New York. We were Somali, we know the language, we've been here in the country for a long time, we can help you integrate. And my mom said, no, I need a bigger community. And that's how about Lewiston, Maine? Way up there. And that's awesome. That's how we came to Lewiston. That's how we came to Lewiston. And that's exactly what we found, a community that embraced us. I was a young girl, right, trying to fit in. I did not know how to write my name. I was 7 years old. Did not know how to write my name. I learned to write my name in Lewiston Public School. Yeah. And since then, we, beautifully settled in. Yeah.
Well, I was at your party where the community came out and celebrated with you. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. And I'm just so grateful that you wanted to sacrifice the time and energy that it took to run, right? Yeah. And I think, especially this month, there's been so much focus on both the impeachment, which there should be, and the presidential primaries, right? And we think so much about these large, powerful individuals, right? And we so often miss how much change is happening at the hyper-local level. Yeah. And that some of the best people that can serve us in higher office are people who get their start right where you are. Yeah. like right now.
Yeah.
And so as you must meet other people who think about running for office. Like, what is your advice to young people of color who are like thinking about wanting to run and maybe feel like they don't have somebody who has their back, or they don't know how to do it?
I first gotta say that running, I did not know what I was signing up for at all. But like, I have such precious moments at doors that I did not expect, honestly. Especially, before I was a little bit nervous and scared going to doors and knocking. And I one time sat with a friend of mine and I said, how can I deal with if someone is like mean to me, or in terms of like very racist to me, right? How can I deal with someone who's ignorant or whatever? And excuse me.
It's winter in Maine. We get dry.
Oh my God. And she says, just think it as a teaching moment, right? That they are fearful of something that they learned, right? And it's your opportunity to teach them something different. So I went to every day to those doors having that kind of mindset. Like, okay, this is a new person that I am willing to teach, right? They may not want to learn, or they may want to learn, but I am here to help them out. So that's one thing that I always carried with me throughout the campaign trail. But also, I definitely the doors are completely different than from what you get online sometimes. And I have personally gotten a lot of hate from online and a lot of threats, and
it's scary.
It is very, very scary, and it should never be that hard trying to run for office, or even trying to like help your community that you love so much. It should never be that hard, but it was hard in a way, especially when I looked at the online messages. It was very heartbreaking. So my advice, and for anyone who wants to run for office, is you don't win campaign elections online. You win them at the doors. And
I love that. Yes,
and I won that campaign 70% of the vote because I had the energy and the motivation to go outside every day and knock more doors, like 40 doors every night, more every night. And I was really excited because then again, it would help me, like when I asked, what issue are you dealing with? Because I'm also getting some policies that I want to change, and they'd be like, oh, why don't you like open City Hall from this to this time, or why doesn't this happen, right? It's that interaction with real people that really matters, rather than someone from across the country or someone who is not even in your district trying to derail you from the message. So that's like, canvassing is so important. It's sometimes very hard like to even start, but once you start and you'll have a team that's very energetic, you can definitely
and you had a great team.
I had a great team. I had volunteers from the 2018 midterm election help me out in that cycle.
Yeah. That's awesome. And what are you most looking forward to in the next 2 years of your service? That's a big one.
That's a big one. I campaigned on different issues throughout the campaign, and I've heard a lot of issues that people are dealing with and challenges. And one thing that it's always coming to me is developing and growing our economy. It's definitely that priority of mine, but also our infrastructure. I want to grow our infrastructure so that young people, right, and old people can live and work in Lewiston, right? They need a vibrant community, and that means building the infrastructure, growing our economy by supporting small businesses. So after 2 years, I want more youth working. Like, one big thing, more youth is staying and working in Lewiston. Yeah.
I love that. And so where can people find you online? Because you are going to run again. Where can people find you online?
So I don't have a website yet. If anyone wants to help me, please do. But right now I have Facebook, so Safiya for City Council.
Great.
Safiya Khalid is my Facebook page.
Great, and we'll put that in
Twitter
the notes.
too.
Great, and we'll put both your Twitter and your Facebook in the notes if people want to find you. This is a pleasure. I so appreciate hearing your stories. Yeah, this is awesome.
It's great being, talking and sharing my story. I think stories are very, very powerful, and whenever we have the chance to share stories, we should.
Thank you. And you can find more of our Brass Tacks videos on YouTube at our Brass Tacks channel. Thanks a lot.